got one over there?
No, it's all right. I actually,
Yes, sir. Before I forget, hold up after me.
I got handed something else.
Okay.
Well, actually, he needs one, and we got to give
Okay.
the ones out on this side. So put them out there.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
I got one.
Appreciate it.
Get the rest in the right place. You gotta keep folks on their toes every now and then. Switch them up.
Long as you put the mic over here in front of me.
Please don't do that.
What's that? Look.
I don't know, let's see you for a few minutes.
I can get you for a lot of stuff, sir, but if you do that.
Sorry, yeah, let him, we're ready to vote on some stuff, let him. Oh, yes, 2 times.
See how this running, we're gonna stop doing it.
He gives the grand because he did it though.
But it's hard. I finally got caught up in that 7 days out we had. Got my grass to get caught up and cooled off a little bit so it's not growing quite so fast. Enjoying that.
Seven, yeah.
Most of the time,
It's not
I
seven,
went
it's
to
6.
mow, and then I get out and mow for an hour or two, and then it was raining. Just, I could get everything done.
I look at my grass, it started growing. Go ahead and call, our budget meeting to order. If we'll let us stand. Father, we come today giving thanks to you, Father. Father, we just want to thank you for the things that you're doing in our lives, Father. Father, we ask you if that would to please continue to be with us, Father, lead and guide us, Father. Father, I ask you if that would to let this meeting be a productive meeting, Father, that we may do things in order for the city of Lafayette, and that progress may be made here today, Father. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, what we'll do is I'm gonna call Chief Rampy up and, let him, start on his budget and we'll break it down and see what we, gonna handle his budget and all. And, before he gets started, I'm gonna say, as far as his, Mr. Clerk, have we got salary numbers on his yet, as far as today is concerned, from what we talked about? Any new numbers, or he, Chief, you got new numbers as far as your salary is concerned, or how you came to your salary, should I say?
Okay, I don't know, do you all have
No,
this?
I don't.
You know, okay, well, I'll just let you. It's basically what we submitted when it says submit the budget, just the salaries and the normal officers that you got. And that's for the whole department as far as the numbers that we're working with now.
Okay, go ahead, we'll get back, and anybody have questions on this, I thought that mistaken, 13 positions there.
It is.
And I guess as far as everybody look at it right quick, just if the mayor's gonna look at it, and I'm just gonna ask, on those positions and all, are all 13 of those people in place right now?
No.
How
No,
many not in place?
we're down 2 as of right now. And, that's basically including the, code enforcement officer in that. And the only
Code
difference
enforcer in there.
Excuse-
Code enforcement officer listed there?
is part of that, yes. But the only difference of what's on that, salary, line item on that budget, the $493,432.80 is that we know that position is being advertised for. And in advertising it, and I've spoken to the mayor, and also I've spoken to Mr. Davidson about it. We have a guy well, maybe I don't need to say that. Someone interested in the position. And the only difference, if you'll notice, the code enforcement officer, which I don't have them just, listed as which one of those officers is code enforcement officer. But it's at the $16.75 an hour rate. Basically, what we had talked about with experience, based on experience, is a possibility that one could go up to possibility of $17.50 an hour, based on experience. So that would be a little difference, in which we'll be talking about a 75-cent difference from that $16.75 to $17.50 for the code enforcement officer. And the one that, for the code enforcement officer, that would be the one I think is,
I'm gonna get us a portable copy machine.
I mean, if I had known, I thought maybe they was already submitted. If I had known,
That's fine,
I'd
man. No problem to this.
yeah. And that would be the one that's $34,840, based on the $16.75 an hour.
Yeah, there's about 2,000 hours in
Sir,
It's about 2,000 hours in a year, so 2,000 times 1,750 would be 35,000.
yes, somewhere like that. And that would be the difference from the $34,840.
One of the things here, now let me just ask you right quick, so I'll make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
And you mentioned it just a minute ago, but I want to make sure I'm clear. This 493,000 is your exact today. For
Yes.
everybody who's
If
working,
we were fully.
everybody in place.
Right, if we had everybody in place, that would be it, with the only difference being if we increased that $16.75 up to $17.50.
Ain't worried about it right now.
Yes,
We'll deal with that
but
when it
if
comes.
we had everybody in place, that would be the $493,432.80 that we would be actually working with the number of officers that we have.
Okay. Can I write on this?
Yes, sir.
Let's go down this list and see if we can put people in place.
Sir?
Can we go down this list and put people in place?
Yes, yes. Actually, I have this sheet right here that could actually give you the individuals.
Okay. See what we got there.
Is Ms. Cheryl's salary included in this?
It is.
Which one is her?
It would be the, let me see. Yes, it would be the one, the 16 Dr. Nowell for $33,612.08. It should be. I'm sorry, it's this one.
And the 84 hours, what's the difference between the 80 hours and
Yeah.
84 hours? Control fee?
That's named out, that's what I was gonna write. Yeah.
Yeah, then,
Okay.
you know, regular patrolling do 12 hours a day. Their salary comes, say, from the 84 hours instead of the 80. It's computed rather, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's jump down off of the salary right now. We'll skip on down and, everybody, if you got questions and you wanna talk about this stuff, let's go ahead and bring it out.
Go
So,
line by line.
we'll go line for line. Let's start on office supplies. And if you notice, the chief is proposing 5,000. For 10 months, he used 2,088. So we can probably, you know, even if you put another 1,000 with that, you know, if you look in the last few years, 2019, 2009, 13, actual, and 4,509 back in 18. So, is there any adjustment we think we need to make here as far as him proposing 5,000? Chief, can we get away with 4,000 there on your office supplies?
Yes, we can do that. We can make that work.
If they spent 2,088 in 10 months, that's less than 3,000 probably for the year.
I'm just thinking, yeah, see, I'm just thinking that in 10 months, we did 2,088. And, I mean, I don't know, you know, we would find a need to spend another, basically 3,000 in 2 months. Reason I'm asking, as far as the cut to 4,000. And that would still, you know, give you plenty in your office supplies.
Okay.
Operating supplies, 9,000. Past years, it's looked like it's fluctuated. Can you tell, do you remember what was going on in 2019, 2020?
That,
Supposed to be 31,000?
yeah,
So in, office supplies,
We're gonna go to 4,000.
4,000.
Yes.
right now, I don't, but I can get an answer.
Okay,
I can't get an answer.
okay, all right. Hey, y'all, I don't wanna be the one that,
Well, I
you know,
mean,
That's a bid spread,
I'm
31,000?
thinking it may be something that, you know, it could be,
we don't know, we need to know.
the clerk don't come back, and he may be able to even tell us what that 30, we'll just leave that one.
32,000?
Yeah,
We'll leave that one and come back to it,
yeah.
okay?
I mean, I can,
Let's go back up to, Councilman, what about up to the overtime?
Okay.
Because we're trying to balance a budget and
Yes.
look like, you know, overall, trying to get this deficit down and we can't, I don't think we don't have the money to keep doing it like we always done it. I think we got to find ways to cut. I mean, everybody got to,
I agree. And I was gonna come back to that, but with that, let's go. Go ahead
Yeah.
and talk about overtime.
you got 45,000 in overtime. I mean, with scheduling and I know, and can we find some way to cut that down some?
Well, we've already started working on trying to cut into the overtime because a lot of the functions, even doing like, ball games and stuff, we're getting to the point where we're trying to stop just getting all the officers coming in off their off days and utilizing the officers that are there. And with us as administrators, we're trying to be out there and try to, cut down on it because of the fact that we pretty much can make it work, and we've gotten with the school. They are charging for parking, so they will have people out there to actually to do the parking. But we are in the area just to assist with if they need anything, and then we, if the guys are not busy that's working shift at night, they also come over and they'll kind of assist us until the game gets started. Then we on the inside, then they can, go back to patrolling. So we're trying to cut down even with the ball games and stuff, and other ways that we can cut down as far as. But do you know that a lot of our overtime some of it is reimbursed because you have Sergeant Coley that works through the school, that goes as our overtime, but the school actually reimburses us. And then when Sergeant Carey's here and he worked with the DTF, then any overtime that he gets, that we're reimbursed for his overtime too, but it actually show as our overtime, but you have a reimbursement that comes in.
And so, in that sense, what happens with us is, we don't see that.
Right,
And all we see is a number like 45,000.
I see.
And, I mean, somewhere along the way, within our budget and with our money talk, we've got to be at a point to say, hey, this was overtime, this was reimbursed, or this, I guess, I don't know how we would come to it, on a monthly thing, we can even be behind a month, basically, but we've got to see and know that, so the council don't think that, hey, the city's paying out all this overtime, but yet, some of it's being reimbursed.
Okay.
And that is, what do you guys think as far as the overtime is concerned, a fair number that we're trying to get Chief to go to and work with, and, just to, now, and Chief, I want you to understand something, and I think I'm speaking correctly here, Mayor and Council, that we're gonna put numbers on the paper. If push comes to shove and we have to pass those numbers, it ain't gonna be said, well, Chief Rampy, you can't work the ball game because you're already at your overtime limit. Is that right, guys? As far as any job situation, you can't cut a man out from doing a duty that's literally there, and because it's not budgeted like this. You see what I'm saying?
That's the purpose of us trying to get this budget in
That's-
line. Again, it goes back to
Management.
management, and do we really need 13, 15 police officers?
I don't know, man.
Now, those 13 salaries did not just include police officers, because you got Ms. Cheryl,
Got Ms. Cheryl.
and then you're gonna have a code enforcement officer that's in place, that's within that 13 also, so.
My question, so you got 11 right now, you got 11 officers,
Mhm.
so you're too short.
Well, 10.
You got 10, that includes DTF, you got 2, right?
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Like I said, 'cause the numbers are down, you got, do it with 11 officers versus 13? Police officers, I'm not talking about Ms. Cheryl and.
If we went that route, we're gonna end up, cause like I said, one of those officers include a code enforcement officer that was put in our budget. So that means that you wouldn't have are you saying do one officer with the code enforcement officer added to what we have now? Do
You
without?
got on your patrol at night, you got two on.
Yeah, we
most
got
of
two,
nighttime.
yeah, A and B shift
A
nights,
and B, that's 4.
right,
And then during the day, you got yourself, Captain Price, your SRO, school resource officer.
right,
2 investigators, that's 5.
mhm,
And plus the 4 patrol, that's 9. Then your code enforcement, 10.
mhm.
Cause like I said, during the week, how you guys been getting, covering the weekends?
See, that's the
days?
thing about it, unless you have, if you don't have anybody on the A and B day shifts, then on the weekends, every weekend is gonna have to be covered, every weekend. And that means you're gonna have to take guys that work through the week, and then you're gonna have to have them out there on the weekend. Now, what we've been trying to do is, just say if Captain Trice, Sergeant Coley, Lieutenant Brock, Sergeant White, if any of them work the weekend, what we try to do is for them to get their 80 hours in, we try to have them to maybe take a day off during the week. And that way, it'll kind of keep them where it won't be running a lot of overtime over because of the fact they're gonna start taking days off during the week. So that's been working, but now we are still down because we have Lieutenant Brock, who's been out probably about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, going on 3 weeks. And now we have Sergeant White, who is out because his wife was involved in a very bad accident. So he's out for a while now too. So actually we don't have any investigators working now, but we do have people that's gonna fill those roles of coming out and taking calls and stuff like that. So we're trying to make it work the best we can with what we got. But the agreement was when we cut officers, when we went from A and B day shifts from 2 officers per shift, day shift, where it kind of compensated with the raises that the guys got. That was the agreement with the number of officers that we could have. So
Speaking of that, what did you agree with on that situation?
with the 12 officers, that
So
would
you agreed-
basically,
You agreed to go with 12 officers in order to get the raise?
yes.
So that's what we're gonna do, Mayor, we're gonna keep it at 12 police officers?
Did they receive the raise?
What raise we talking about?
No.
What raise? What raise?
I'm
I'm saying,
asking.
before my time.
This was the last,
Before my time.
Yeah.
this was the last administration. That's when we went from 1350 for certified officers up to 1625.
Here is the
Drug test,
drug task.
right. Mhm.
And he's the one that's been out here. He's one of the guys that been out the drill task force, right?
Yes, he's actually deployed. He's been deployed it's going on pretty much a year. He should be returning soon.
Just for my knowledge, how does his pay equal out, or what goes on with his pay while he's out?
Well, actually, he's not getting any pay now.
Okay, okay. That's just what I want, I just want,
Right.
you know, I'm just questioning, because I just wonder, you know, because I know military stuff is funny as to
It
how
is, it
that
is,
pay-
it is.
And I will mention, though, when he comes back, he is gonna have some pay that he's gonna be eligible for. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's some, military rule it's in our policy.
Right, for so many,
Look it up, but
yeah.
He can get paid for so many hours when he gets back.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, most companies and plans have that. Most companies and plans have that in an employee,
Right.
it'd be too, to say.
Okay, guys, we hung up here on.
All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, we need to finish discussing this overtime, and see, Mayor, I mean, you know, let's, you know, I just think we all need to have strong input here as far as what we're trying to do and what we, you know, what we hope to do.
Let me mention that the reimbursements are shown on page 3.
Right.
You see them.
Man, there's so much paper over here, I can't even.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, we haven't had very long to
School
look at it.
resource officer. Yeah,
There's a school officer reimbursement,
Okay, I got you, I see
and then
it.
there's the DTM officer reimbursement.
and also not only for the school resource officers, we reimburse for his overtime, but they pay so much of his salary.
Let me, while we're there, and we're not gonna forget anything, guys, while we're there, am I wrong as to think that Valley pays, the county pays Valley resource officer full salary?
I'm not sure.
But they do have what, more than one?
They do,
They got what, three? Is it three?
two.
Two.
Howard and Sandy Green.
Howard Spring.
Mhm.
So, you know, Mr. Clerk, I kinda thought I remembered hearing that they were paying those guys full salary.
The last time I checked, which I know it's probably been a couple of years at least now, Valley was paying, basically, it equaled out half, meaning they did pay one, but then Valley provided the other.
Right.
So that's pretty much, we got two and they're paying for one, that's half. Similar to what they do for us, they pretty much pay half of Cole's salary. It's I guess a little bit less because they don't, pay anything during those summer months.
Right.
But, but all the time in school, they pay half the salary, and we include the fringe benefits, the FICA, so they do pay half of that.
Probably look at them, re-looking at that thing, man, get them to pay the full salary.
You know, that's
For
where
that officer,
I'm
that's
going.
a county school, I mean,
You know,
Well, that's the way it was.
It was.
we need to revisit that one, I think. We need to
They
look at
went
that.
to, it was full, then they went to half,
Right,
and then I don't know if y'all remember, then they went to none,
they did,
and then they came back to
to
half.
have.
you know, well, I tell you.
And I think they
you know,
did
With new administration in there,
proration,
he
proration
created
years
quite
or
a few
something like that.
jobs, so,
Yeah,
You know,
so
he-
they're in pretty good shape.
you know, he knows there's some money's coming from somewhere out there. For him to be done created as many jobs as he's created, you know, since he's been in. You know, if you saw the paper, they advertised, they created positions as far as a custodian supervisor, basically for each school. And, or two or three schools. One man may cover two or three schools, but, you know, that's a new job. That kind of stuff is new, and, you know, so I'm just wondering if it may be a point to where we may need to try to entertain, you know, getting them to see if they'll pay the full salary of a police officer. You know, I mean, the guys are there all day. You know, we're supplying the car, we're supplying the training,
Exactly.
you
Well,
know.
well, actually, he's there part of the day, the first 4 hours, he's there. And then he come back to the street for the second part of the day.
Oh, well, they ain't getting paid full
this is,
You just stay all day.
that's when they paying the full salary. See, when I was a school resource officer, they were paying the full salary. When we had one for, J.P. Powell, then the city sponsored one, and, they paid for one.
So we just got a guy coming in from 8 to basically 12, or whatever the case may be?
No, he's working, like I said, over there, yes.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm saying.
then, yes,
Yeah.
But he cover all the schools, though, right? He cover
right,
all three
he
schools.
does.
I think the mayor was the chief at the time, and we didn't go to that half until they stopped paying anything.
Anything, right,
There was a period
Right.
where the person was still there for the whole day, but they
Right.
were only giving us
Half,
half for the reimbursement. So we didn't
right.
pull them back half until they stopped paying, period, and then that's when that happened.
I guess we better leave that alone. All right, guys, back to overtime, where we stand, you know, he's proposing 45,000. He's telling us that, Chief is telling us that he is aware and is trying to cut some of that overtime, with some things that's going on. Now, all this is gonna play a part in, you know, the amount of people that's there and all that kind of stuff, so, what do y'all think on that?
Well, first of all, my thing is, we need to get together on how many we're gonna allow the chief to have, then we can come back to the overtime.
Okay.
The more officers, the less overtime, I see.
Right,
Less officers, then it's gonna create more overtime.
it is.
So we need to get together on how many we
Okay.
allow. That's the reason
Okay,
I asked-
well, let's-
That's the reason I asked you questions about this raise thing when I was in previous administration, because if that was agreed on, and then it happened, then, we're gonna continue to keep it that way, or we gonna change it, so it's, you know,
All right,
what
let's,
we gonna do?
what if we just go down the list here? I mean, you know, and, I mean, even in going down this list, I mean, I guess we gotta talk about the role that everybody plays, you know, in order to either cut or you keep and you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got the chief as being number one, you got Captain Trice being number two, so, you know, that's two administrators. As far as, you know, day shift is concerned, night shift is concerned, how do all this stuff play out? You know, who fill positions, who may do just whatever. You know, in order, and the bottom line here is, we're trying to balance the budget. So, you know, we're trying to balance, and we're trying to ensure that, you know, that the general fund for the city, looking at the general fund and looking at the police department and looking at the fire and EMS,
More expensive.
you know, that is a lot of money going that way. Now, you know, we wanna make sure that if we're gonna provide these services, we still gotta have people. Now, we can't, I guess I can say, we can't continue to do what we've done in the past because we don't have the funds to continue to do the same way. So somewhere along the way, we gotta cut something, we gotta do something, we gotta make some moves, some change.
Can I say one thing, just,
Sir, you're part of it.
one of the things that I had, thought about, and I had mentioned at one point to Mr. Davidson about maybe that we look at getting our own municipal court. I know we don't have much revenue coming in, right now with the way the system is set up now, but I was just thinking about, because if you look at a lot of areas around us that have their own municipal courts, they're able to operate even with Camp Hill. You know, Camp Hill is a small town, but they have their municipal court, and it allows them to probably do a little bit more than what other towns their size can do, because, you know, you got the major 280 running through that. even with Opelika PD, they have that, I mean, with City of Opelika have their own municipal court. You know, and you look at the things that they're able to do, I mean, with just the new police department that they built. You know, we went down for training and we attended, and they just walked us through it and they showed us, you know, the facilities and stuff. And I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. And that is something that, you know, maybe for the future, we might can start looking into, maybe just going out on municipal court, you know, and then that'll be more revenue because, you know, that can be coming to the police department.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. That, it'll be more revenue coming in now. The expenses as far as, getting it set up and getting it started and maintaining it, you know, that, you know, we would have to look into stuff like that and just, you know, just bring numbers back to see where we could be with that. So that's one thing that, you know, we probably could look at if we want to start generating some revenue for the, police department instead of just, you know, taking from the general fund to help fund our budget, that we could start bringing in some revenue to help support our budget as well.
And, you know, I'm kind of glad you brought that up because, you know, there has been some conversation as far as, you know, what if we have a municipal court? And, you know, some of the questions or the things that were thrown out there was, you know, with the council and mayor, I mean, you know, it's gotta be a thing that's made sure that, you know, we can't pick up every ticket that people write. We gotta write tickets. We gotta handle things, you know, according to the law. And, you know, I mean, I'm just a firm believer that if I leave here tonight and I go down, the bypass and I'm speeding and the guy stopped me, I'm gonna accept the ticket if he so choose to write it. You know, I'm not gonna say, hey man, I'm Councilman Mike, you can't be, you know, if I was wrong, I was wrong. And that was one of the concerns overall as far as, you know, talking about municipal court and all that, the stuff that may hurt it. You know, you gotta continue to be out there, patrolling and ensuring that, you know, we don't wanna be a trap city, but we wanna be a fair city. And I think the way traffic moves out here around the city, I don't think we couldn't afford to have the funds coming in through the police department, you know, so just something to think about.
One thing about it, in every situation is different. You know, we're not the only agency that offers that courtesy, which, you know, there are other agencies do it far more than we do. And, you know, with county is more political. So, but it's not to say it's right, but I'm just saying that it's not something that don't happen everywhere. So.
So, you're gonna put out on,
Well, I think, you know, the idea of a municipal court is interesting. We should probably find out what Camp Hill does, how they do it.
If I'm not mistaken,
Beg your pardon?
if I'm not mistaken, I think Roanoke,
Roanoke.
I think they have their
Yeah.
own municipal as well.
You have to hire a prosecutor, a clerk. A clerk gotta be separate. You gotta have
Judge,
judge. So it's,
and you have to pay those people.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it. If I talked about, you know, going out and just checking to see the startup and the maintaining it, you know, and to see would it be feasible one way or the other. So that's something that we could, you know, we could look at doing. You know, even your judge, or, you know, could be a retired person, you know, part-time or whatever. But we could just look into that and just see and weigh our options as far as would it be beneficial to do it or would it not be beneficial to do it.
How much does the city of Lafayette get now per ticket that we write?
Probably $4, $5 per ticket.
Basically, no.
It's not much. not much.
Well, like I said, I've traveled throughout the state and surrounding cities and I've worked part-time in some cities and towns and stuff. And a couple of places I've worked, their population is more than what the city of Lafayette is. And their police department is a whole lot less, got less, and they make it work. And some of them work, sheriff, I'm saying, we're talking about over $1 million in part of the budget, just the police department itself.
Well, I think once we get on down in the budget, you'll start seeing some things that grants could take care of it, but it was just something that the figures were thrown out as a whole. But, some things could be reimbursed through grants, and that's why we put them in there like that.
What we decide on overtime, cut it. I would suggest from $45,000 to $40,000 in overtime. Let's save $5,000 at least. Just have to make it work. Cause during the week, like that, you got yourself, captain, 2 investigators, when everybody's here, just Monday through Friday, for example. You, captain, 2 investigators, that's 4 school resource, that's 5 code enforcement, that can be six police certified officers here during the day, supposed to Monday through Friday. What do you guys' normal work hours?
Well, basically, it's supposed to be like 8 to 5, or 8 to 4, 8 to 4.
That's what I'm saying.
But
a city outside, we don't need 6 police officers here during Monday through Friday. They've got to pay overtime and all that on the weekend to cover the weekend. What about, you ever thought about maybe moving your captain? Cause you're here during the day and all the other guys, do you both administrators need to be here during the day?
Well, that's basically what I was saying earlier. To help cover some of the expenses of the overtime for the weekend, we normally try to have the guys to kind of stagger their schedules. If they have to work this weekend, just say whoever have to work this weekend, then they just take some time off, the following week. As long as it's in that week, that pay period, that they could take some time off, and that way it'll keep them from accumulating a lot of overtime. We can make it work. We can make it work. With the $40,000, we can make it work.
What about the 2 investigators, Chief? Do we have enough crime going on for 2 investigators? I remember one time a while back, I know we used to operate 1 investigator. Would that be something that we might be able to look into as well, to save some money?
We can look into it.
Yeah, cause yourself or your captain can catch call. Come on, if something major happens, a lot of times your supervisor on night shift, get guys cross-trained to do more than just patrol.
Well, actually, that's basically what we're doing, because we even starting to get them to start preparing their own cases and working their case files and stuff like that, to get them kind of familiar, because even if you get to a point that someone might be saying they're interested in going into investigations, they have an opportunity to get out here and work some things and kind of get familiar with the way it works. So we don't never know sickness, long-term illness, or whatever might happen, and we'll need people to fill those roles. So, and that's the thing that we're doing now with both investigators out. We're having people to step up and say that they're willing to be trained and willing to help cover calls and stuff like that. And so.
That's not
I think you have 2 of them out now anyway, right? 2 of them investigators.
Yeah, both of the investigators are out now, and we don't know for how long. We don't know for how long.
And if it get to the point where you just need an extra investigator, like you say, if he's already trained, you might be able to pull somebody over there to help assist
Right.
with.
Well, Captain Price, he's been investigated before.
Yeah, see,
Something major,
well, that's what, we gonna be there anyway. Anything major happens, whether if we got the investigators there or not, I'm coming out. Nothing happened in the city of Lafayette that's major that I don't come out on. So I'm coming out, and Captain Trice, he's actually one of the persons that actually is fulfilling, he's fulfilling that obligation now to help cover for investigations. And Sergeant Coley has stepped up, and he's also doing it as well. So everybody's trying to work together to make it work.
So on overtime, we wanna go to 40,000. And as far as the, I mean, I know we were discussing the employee numbers while ago. And the chief, mentioned, numbers and people in raises and positions and stuff like that was done in the previous council. So, I guess, are we satisfied to the numbers? I don't wanna leave it and then, we got a question later about number of employees, and stuff like that.
You said the last administration, what's about this increase? What you got on here?
Chief
Yes.
can tell you, yeah.
Yes,
Who, the former mayor agreed to this?
yes,
But I'm saying, this haven't taken place yet.
yes.
Yeah, that's in place.
It's in place.
Yep.
But I think Mayor, he's a proposer, Moody. Then Mayor, Moody do this, Mayor, that he agreed,
Yeah, it was, and of course I wasn't here, so I don't know the conversation that y'all just had, but from my understanding, what we talked about and what Mayor Moody talked about, it didn't change the overall salary budget.
It didn't.
No.
So they went
It
with
didn't.
less people to get those raises.
Right.
Right, yeah, we talked about that,
Yeah.
I remember talking about that, instead
Right.
of hiring all these extra two or
Right.
three more police officers, work with what you got.
And that's
Got
it.
the money already in the budget,
It's
but
in the
don't
budget.
add no more,
And we're not, and we fulfill our part of it because we haven't asked for any more officers, So we're aware it is within that budget. It wasn't nothing that was added to the budget, it was within the budget. So once we had officers that left the department or whatever, we did not hire any more to come in, that we left it the way it was and still was within the budget.
Yeah.
I remember that.
All right, Social Security and life and health insurance, there's nothing we do on those, basically those fall off of your salaries. Mr. Clerk, there's nothing here on retirement. No, I'm sorry,
No, you're right.
that's proposed.
On my paper, you have to correct. I missed that. I'll get it calculated.
Okay, all right. Does is there any unemployment tax go in there too?
You know what, I never budget for
Okay.
unemployment tax because we don't know as a municipality, we don't really know.
Okay, all right, okay.
Like I think last year with, everyone who got hit real hard with that, unemployment tax increase, I mean, ours was just minimal. It was just basically based on who we actually had draw unemployment.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
it's tough for us to calculate.
okay, all right. Office supplies, chief is proposing 5,000. For 10 months, he used 2,088. I think, did we just discuss that?
We did.
Okay, we just did that. Okay. All right, let's move on then. Operating supplies, here's what we got hung up at. Mr. Clerk, 2019, 2020, he got 31,869. You have any idea why that's so big?
I have to look back and see.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Chief, do you have any idea?
Then that's when I told him I would just have to see what happened on
we
that.
should have a
that year.
plethora of supplies somewhere there.
So let's look
I
at
tell you
that.
what, though, I can look it up.
Okay, all right. So as far as the 10 months is concerned, we used 7,061. Back in 2018 and 2019, used 8,617.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Chief,
So you're banking on,
equipment grant.
We did.
what,
8,000,
I can get a quick.
8,000 there?
Yeah,
I'd say 8,000, about
Chief, can we go with 8,000 on, 8,000 on office operating supplies?
Yes.
Fuel and oil, we have no big, recollection of how this is gonna ever play out. 2018, you spent 20,000, 2019, you spent 18,000. This year, you only spent 15 in 10 months, so you're still probably gonna be at an average of 18,000, so can we go to 20,000 on your fuel and oil?
Okay.
Medical services, nothing we deal with, basically. Hey, I wanna ask you something about the telephone, which I know is no big deal, nothing we gonna be able to do. But in your proposal here, you propose 17, but as if you go back across the line, that's under basically every year. And that's nothing, I don't think it's nothing we're gonna worry about too much.
Because it's hard to just really say,
And we're hoping to get this fixed.
right.
We're hoping to do something better on this.
And
So,
I noticed that too, but I didn't say anything, because it is gonna go around.
Mhm.
Part of the reason telephone's so high, because of AT&T, we
Yeah.
are gonna get rid of AT&T, so that number is just gonna drop. That's why I didn't ask you about it.
Okay.
Okay, who we going with next? Who we going with, Spectrum or somebody else?
No, the low one looks like Verizon,
Verizon.
but,
So guesstimate how much lesser do you think it'll drop to this 17,000?
well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think
30,000.
30 to
Yeah,
17.
30 to 17.
17,
Okay.
Yeah, it's safe to say, if not maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
all right, postage, you proposed is 500. Look like you've been under pretty much, you had a big spending in 2018. Can we go to 300? Cut it down $200. Chief?
I can say this too, if we're gonna have a code enforcement officer.
Yeah, yeah, and see, that's the thing about it, it's hard to say a lot of these line items because of the fact it goes up and it goes down, and the more the responsibility that we have on people to make sure that the city's business be conducted, it's gonna be really hard to just say what in those areas right there.
Okay, so we'll leave it at
Yeah.
700 then.
Yeah.
Cause that goes along with you guys write letters to overgrown property.
Right,
all that
and
stuff.
then we have to mail a lot of subpoenas out for people that they moved from this area, witnesses or something that we need to get subpoenas to that not even from Lafayette, that if they've been subpoenaed to come to court, then we have to get that subpoena to them. So we'll mail them out, and then a lot of accident reports, people traveling through town have accidents that don't live here, then we have to end up mailing accident reports out, and then insurance company, they require accident reports and stuff like that.
In saying that, let me ask you, why do we not charge anybody for any of this stuff?
Well, that was something we were gonna ask. Could we actually
Some places
start,
do, yes, 'cause
could we,
most places charge $10 for a
yeah,
paper.
and that would bring in a
But
little,
the hour report is $5.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's something we were gonna ask to help generate funds. Could we actually, cause I can't remember, but for some reason I wanna say that we used to do that. I can't remember, just right off the top of my head whether we did or not, but I wanna say sometime, at some point, I thought we used to do that we used to charge.
They had to go, they don't have to go to City Hall and get a receipt.
Right,
Do we,
right.
well, let me ask you this, with Ms. Cheryl sitting there, would they need to go to City Hall?
Well,
and get a receipt?
yeah, that would be one less thing to lose, not to worry about.
Yeah, they-
Get a ledger or some type of
Right.
receipt book or something.
If
For
we-
accident reports and stuff when people come and like wanna
You
pick
don't
up.
charge that?
We don't. See, that, I thought we used to.
When do we stop?
We've been nonstop. We hadn't charged for accident
Do you
report
know, do
in
you have any idea how much they were?
probably 10 years or more.
No, we done had some before then.
No.
Yeah.
It used to be, it,
Brian, you stopped at?
No, we
it used to, that's
$10.
reason,
I mean, most places, $10 for a copper.
Well, let me-
and that's not much because a lot of people that do come pick them up, they actually say,
They surprised.
How
that they get a
much?
free
Yeah.
copy.
how much,
Yeah.
They
you
they
know.
have to pay everywhere else.
And I know since I've been in administration,
Well,
they
let's
haven't
put it
been
like this,
charged.
guys, it takes an officer more time to sit down and make sure this is done, they come back at a specific time, looking for this stuff, it's costly to the city, so, $10.
That's right, yep. I think so. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
now, let me ask this, do we have to run this through the attorney in any kind of way to y'all, anybody's knowledge, Mr.
Probably a
Clerk,
good idea.
to pass this through the attorney and make sure that there's a good write-up as far as, you know, us collecting that money?
Yeah, and I think it would definitely need to be council action taken.
Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
all-
you-
yeah.
You gonna remind us?
Council, yeah.
Put it on budget, put it on the,
Yeah, 'cause like I said, other places I work, when they come in, I
Yeah,
mean, or
it
they
makes
send
sense.
out of town, they send
Yeah.
a check, the law offices send.
Well, they do send
They
some,
send certified
they
checks.
do.
Yeah, they send
They do.
checks. I checked with Jackson Gap, that last place I work, but yeah, find out.
Mhm.
I know Val and other
So-
places, they do charge.
Yeah,
It looks like on those operating supplies that year, we spent 5,200 on body cameras.
yes.
We spent 7,000 on tasers, and then there was another 10,000 we spent on vests.
On vests.
okay.
But that was through a grant
I'm just gonna say, and I
that we
think
got from ADESC.
that was, yeah,
Mhm.
reimbursed through a grant, so that's why that number was out.
Excuse me, Council, Clerk, do you think you might be able to contact the attorney tomorrow and just ask him so we can be legally straight about this?
But it's gotta come before council. What are you saying anyway?
But I was just saying from a legal point of view, from the
Yeah,
attorney,
right.
how it be now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing we wanted to ask, since we're talking about that, we're the only city that we unlock vehicles. And it's no problem to continue, but is that something that you might, it would generate funds from?
You know,
Or would that be a little too,
if you did try to generate funds from it, I mean, you
And
know,
then
when
it-
you get out there on the scene, how you gonna?
yeah,
collect?
that, when I said it, it didn't make sense.
And so a lot of agents
It didn't
have
make
gone away
sense.
from that altogether.
Altogether
They have
because of
gone
liability.
because of
Liability.
is so,
Yeah,
they come back and say, you tore up the car, or.
yeah, or
hit
either
an
the officer
airbag
get
and
hurt,
it killed.
the
I mean,
officer
so
get
we
hurt.
away from that.
So have we experienced any of those situations? Airbag deployed or anything?
we
like that?
haven't, but it's not to say we won't.
Right, right.
It's not to say we won't, and then when we do experience it, then that's when we're gonna have, an issue. We had gotten away from it at one time,
Yeah.
I'm surprised Rocco ain't been up there complaining.
yeah, we had gotten away from it,
Call a locksmith, man.
They did, like they done started.
I think he's been flowing on this.
yeah.
So as far as we're concerned, I mean, you know, to get away from the liability, Lord knows.
Now, let me say
I
this,
gotta find some
if it's, you know, like a person with a child locked in the car,
That's different story.
we, that's
That's a different
different.
story.
Yeah, but as far as just people, and sometimes it's the same people. You know, it's, you know, getting out there unlocking those vehicles and stuff, and then probably 2 or 3 days, like, you might go to the same house or the same location. You know, people are just, as long as they know we gonna do it and not charge anything, or just do it, they gonna call us. But, I mean, just to say, the liability part on it, and also, like I said, we the only agency, really, we are the only agency in the county that does it.
Well, I don't know why we keep doing it then. Let's, Mr. Clerk, would that need to come before the council to stop unlocking cars?
I think that's what this is policy, I think.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chief policy, something like that.
Well, let's make it, would we just kindly agree to October 1st? Lord knows, I mean, something could happen before then, but.
Publicize it.
Run that
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we'll
How
make,
active is our city website? I mean, do a lot of people even use it?
I
probably not. But do you guys do the police department, do y'all have a
Yes,
website?
we
I'll
do.
put it on my
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, your social media, your Facebook, your,
Yeah.
What do y'all think, October first?
Set
give
it
them
in.
2 week notice, yeah.
Let
That's
us
basically
know.
2 week notice.
Yeah, and, you know, just maybe put a little quote in there,
Yeah.
due to liability. You know. we
Well,
don't-
I'll be honest with you.
Something.
You know, I don't even think you need to go into
You
one.
don't think so?
No.
It's part of it, not gonna unlock it.
Yeah, unless it's mercy, somebody, kid, or something like that, but,
I really, the citizen of the town, they got the right to bust one.
But for individual coming in.
I tell you, you call that, mess up a lot, man, she might be out $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I done got lost, so then where we at?
Well, the posters.
Post.
That's gonna come before the council next meeting, right? Or is that, no, that's a policy. Mayor says that's okay, and the chief said, okay.
advertising.
Yeah, that's advertising.
Advertising, we can leave that 700.
Okay.
Okay. All right, travel and training,
We proposed 10,000, and the reason for that being is, you know, trying to get, and it'll go down now because of the fact that you have less officers. And a lot of classes now, what we're trying to do, we're trying to find free. We did go with the virtual academy, where we paid a fee, which was like $40 per officer, and they could go on and get all of their hours, but that was made available to us during the pandemic, when a lot of, they had a lot of online classes that we could go in and to get our hours. But now I talked to the guy from Virtual Academy, and he said they don't know how much longer this gonna last. You know, since everything is going pretty much back in person, that was just something they were providing, you know, during the pandemic time, which we know we're still up under it, but he said he don't know how long that will last, you know, for that.
One thing you guys might wanna look at too is, with us being here and the sheriff department being here in our, county seat, maybe hosting some training. We got this facility here, once the pandemic clears up a little bit, you guys remember ROCIC? I mean, they do free training, you host, you don't have to pay, and you get so many slots for your police officers. You host, you start bringing people here, they'll be, you know, hosting, training. Look into that, and then that way, like I said, they're gonna eat
Right.
and do stuff, and shop, or whatever. And that,
Okay.
your guy won't have to travel so much to go to all the, everybody
Right.
else school, everybody else teaming up with those
Right.
agencies to get.
Because we've also been teaming up with Opelika Police Department. They've been
Yeah.
doing a lot of, in Lee County, they've been offering a lot of classes, and we've been sending
You
a lot
have
of
to go
officers.
online with AUM,
Yeah.
Montgomery, create an
Yeah.
account, you get free training. They do a lot of law enforcement training, get that free training with AUM.
Mhm.
The clearinghouse at Auburn University, I mean, you got so many, there's a lot of agents around here that do free law enforcement
Right.
training.
Right, and that's what we've been reaching out to try to cut into this, so it won't be so expensive, then it'll cut down on the travel as well. And also officers being away from the PD, from their duties, you know.
so can we cut that by 2,000?
Yes.
Okay, we go to 8,000 on, travel and training. Utilities, 4,000 in 10 months, 6,000 back in 2019, 7,000 basically back in 2018. Can we cut that by 2,000? And I know it's gonna be a fluctuating thing
Yeah.
as far as that. Now, listen, here's my thing. We're not looking to go over budget as far as to say, oh, we're gonna cut the budget low, but you know, it's okay to go over. No, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to bring these numbers in line to where we think we can operate. And then, I mean, if push comes to shove on utilities, I mean, we ain't gonna cut the lights off,
Yeah.
you know? So,
But
Yeah.
two, well, yeah, and a lot of agencies too going to, a lot of places are going to the motion light, like I said, if you guys, especially during the night, when you guys patrol, they lead off with automatic light, they goes off after a few seconds, whatever, I mean, inside, I mean, most they come back in the station, like, so the light's not on all night, you know. some of the way we look at cutting costs, I mean, just some energy efficient stuff, might be have to get some grants, and we do some upgrades or whatever, and stuff like that, some stuff we need to look at.
So can we go, let's cut that 2,000, go to 6,000, and, I mean, I think we'll be okay. Insurance is nothing we can do with, correct, clerk?
Pretty much, they, I actually had to submit something today, so hopefully I'll have that, estimate like in the next 2-3 weeks. But, you know, it's pretty much what it is, until, I think this is our 3rd year, because we go in groups of 3, so I think this is our 3rd year, and then the next year, if we want to, look at maybe trying to go with other carriers, but, you know, insurance is, you know, just one of those items that just creeps on up a little bit
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
each.
Yeah,
Each
they,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I mentioned last night, you look at, check with Roanoke too, like citywide for Austin, because Roanoke, they still with Blue Cross Blue Shield, but I don't know what plan they went to.
Yeah.
But their plan is to where family coverage, I mean, Roanoke pays all the employees, even family coverage. But they switch, they're still with Blue Cross Blue Shield, if I'm not mistaken. But and that's one of the reasons too, why a lot of their police officers don't leave, and they went up, you know, of course, pay increase and stuff too, but.
And then,
so-
just to clarify too, though, this is gonna be property and casualty.
Oh, property, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but,
Not like, okay.
yeah, but that's still up with the life and health, like on like maybe the 4th line. So
Yeah,
that's something that you did mention
Yeah.
yesterday, and I will reach out, because we have an issue, you know, even when it comes to, recruiting employees, if you have somebody that has a family,
Yeah,
odds of them working for the city.
it really is.
Slim to none.
It really is.
So that's something we
That's
need
a
to
lot
look
of
at.
money.
Get in touch with Roanoke, see what plan they got, how they made it work for them.
And then find out, you know, if you can, as far as people who have used it, and see if it was
What's the
beneficial
feedback?
to them.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
if they're satisfied with it, because you can have it cheap,
Right.
and it don't do you any good.
Okay.
Building repair. What y'all repair now, chief?
Now, one time, I guess that maybe have been 2020, 21, the 10 months was $6,000 and something. That's when the air conditioner, I think the air conditioner went out that time. And we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So,
I think we had AC, trying to repair the roof. but
the roof, yeah, 'cause it's still leaking in there.
Still looking at that?
It's still leaking in there. It is.
It's almost like, I guess, George Green, they'll kind of fix something, and then I guess the water just finds
Yeah,
somewhere to
Another
go.
place,
And
right.
then it comes to another side of the bill.
And it, we filling up buckets. And, when it rain and it's a steady rain, we're actually filling, buckets are being filled up back there. It's just a steady flow. It's right back there in the, squad room, in the corner over there closest to, what is that, First? Yeah,
Yeah,
over
so
there.
that kind of tell you that you probably got a lot of water getting there in the city.
It is. It's it.
Have you got Mr. Green?
Oh, yeah, several times.
Well,
They've done it. They come in and where they thought they stopped the leak, and then when it rain, a good rain again, then you'll find out it's still leaking, water still coming in.
leaked
Mhm.
and the mayor came one time, leaked down in the council
I
chamber.
know, I was there one time, yeah, when the mayor was there.
Then even after George fixed that, it leaked right where the steps are to go up to City Hall where the ladies are. It was in that, the door, the casing, it was
Oh, okay.
climbing out of that.
Maybe we need to get somebody else to fix the roof.
It leaks
We
up
need to get a new roof. or something.
stairs,
Let's
and like one of the, offices where the
Put a new
investigators
roof
are.
on it, man.
Yeah, sure is.
It leaks up
Can we look at,
Well, listen,
get a price on putting a
we need to
new
leave
roof
that
on?
building repair there, because we need to just,
So they're gonna be in that building for a
look
while.
at somebody to try to come in and repair some of this leaking stuff. There's no point in having stuff, and you don't know where the leak's gonna show up at, and it could destroy something.
Yeah.
Is it leaking anywhere where we all at, city clerk, right now?
Not, I'm trying to think, that last leak was
insurance on the building?
Yeah, but I mean.
What I'm saying, I mean, instead of having George keep file a claim, let the insurance deal with it, get it corrected, fixed properly.
Have we ever filed a
Keep
claim?
paying. I'm saying, that's what we need to do, file a claim to insurance, and we pay insurance every month for that, you
Yeah,
know?
but that don't mean they're gonna pay it.
We can test
I
it.
mean,
You know what I'm saying? You can try it, and even if they don't pay it, they still
We
gonna.
ain't never filed a claim.
We ain't got no claim, I mean,
I know a lot of people that have filed claims, they filed claims, the insurance company denied it, but
at
they
least,
still.
hey, let them deny us, man, I mean, at least, we don't ask.
I mean,
And I guess what we've done in the past, we just talked to George, and he's like, yeah, I mean, cause.
That ain't working though, man.
Yeah, houses, so.
we're gonna run those
Like I said,
If we didn't have insurance on the side, we wouldn't.
the whole thing I'm concerned about is we keep on, man, it's my.
Gonna damage everything.
Gonna damage it. Somebody-
Yeah.
But insurance companies
That's
about
exactly
now,
what's gonna
especially
happen.
all that stuff these storms that happen.
I mean,
I just
but-
talked to Ace another day.
I mean,
That's just a total loss completely.
December,
I just got a new roof put on my house, man.
December,
I
I've
don't
been
need
there
that.
for 13 years.
But we municipality, no.
It didn't start leaking when I got here.
Turn up, if we turn everything over.
That thing was leaking.
Yeah, way
You
before.
can do a claim, but I know.
Upstairs leaking before I got
Turn
here.
over the gate. We
The
gonna-
wrong basement said. Yeah, I mean, it's not new.
Insurance for me. They deny us,
Well,
they
that's
gonna
true.
fix it.
At this point, let's, I guess, just see what we can do to try to
We
get something
document every
repaired.
time it happens, you got a paper trail. But if it's a problem, I mean,
Well, all you
that's
gotta
what
do,
we pay
I think,
insurance for.
an adjustment gotta come out, all you gotta do is go in and show the water spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, who got insurance for it?
Well, but, you know, there's damage caused by weather, things like that, but there's also just wearing out. Insurance doesn't cover just wearing out.
Yep. Okay, we'll leave building repair at 3,000, cause we may have to put some more with it.
Well, just cancel the insurance then, how we gonna file a claim on it?
Equipment repair,
That's gonna be stuff like, you know, computers and stuff like that, that we have to have technician to come in and work on computers and stuff like that.
we spent 5,000 before, guys, so.
How new are your computers that you guys are operating? How, I mean, what kind of computer you guys got?
Well, we actually, right now, we haven't had any new ones since, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. We're doing pretty good with them, but a lot of that stuff, they had to come in and, about a year ago or so, they had to come in and they had to find a place to store all the files and stuff like that in case something happens, then you'll have a backup. So stuff like that. But as far as the computers and stuff, it's pretty, they doing pretty good. And we also had one added, a laptop that was added for the body cams only. That, you know, everything can be downloaded on that and you won't have to use a lot of space, you know, on your other computers. You know, so we just got that for just the body cams, you know, and we can download them to that.
All right, guys, what y'all think? We have 5.
Yeah, that, I just looked back, that 2019-20 was when we split between some of it your department, but most of it my department when we got those servers.
Right.
So,
Right.
Okay.
Y'all good there? Yeah. Okay. Motor vehicle repair vendor,
Right. That's when we send our vehicles out to the dealership. And what has been happening on that, you know, we've been without a mechanic. So everything has been going out to here recently. That we just got a mechanic in place here recently. So, but we have been using a lot, we have been using Quality out here on 9th. And then also we came back to the dealerships. And
Are they out of warranty right now?
No.
The last one we've got bought, are they still under warranty?
They still
have
under-
warranty?
they still under warranty.
So that cost should automatically come down now that we got a mechanic.
Yes. 'Cause a lot of, like I said, it was going out.
would you be afraid to go to 10,000 on that?
Yeah, 10 be good.
It's going,
Well, yeah.
cause some things gonna demand it has to go,
10,000.
Motor vehicle repair city.
Well, you know, I'm thinking that if we go to 10, some of the things that, you know, probably, you know, breaks, the oil changes and all that, I mean, I think we're gonna bring back in line,
And see, some of the problems,
City repair.
some of the problems that we've had,
Two more vehicles now.
some of the problems that we've had though,
We're gonna be adding 2 more vehicles, animal control and code enforcement vehicles.
and some of the problems that we've been having, that, you know, when it goes to the mechanic, some things have to go out.
have to go out.
They send them out, so it's,
What year that animal control truck?
Let's go with 10 and see can we make it work.
I'm not sure,
Okay, 10.
I'm not sure.
Major
Yes,
motor
ma'am.
work and transmission work. You can't do that in-house.
Motor vehicle repair city,
That needs to go up, because that's where we're gonna save the other one.
well,
And what if, have I thought about the extended warranties, those,
they call the city.
some of those bit,
They call the city every
They
day.
call me.
Louis have all kind of calls.
I'm
So,
just saying,
let
like,
me, before we go any further, back to my question, we got to realize, gentlemen, that we finna get ready to be putting 2 people in vehicles, a code enforcement officer and the animal control. Now, code enforcement officer will be driving with that hybrid.
Mhm.
What year is that car?
That's a 2000, and I have to really check on it, as well, and see.
What about the animal control? What would the animal control officer be driving?
The truck, the gray truck,
What year is that truck?
I'm not sure, I have to check on that too.
Well, I mean, we're saying 2 people, I mean, what are those 2 people gonna be doing, I mean, for a full-time job?
I mean, I'm just saying, even we go all the way back to the fuel and everything, I don't think we counted those 2 in, that's gonna be, that's still, beside the officer, those 2 extra people gonna be using oil, fuel, and everything else, wear and tear on the vehicle.
Yeah, but my thing is 2 people. I mean, what I'm saying is, where's that gonna be enough work for 2 people?
I mean,
Can we split?
my thing on code enforcement now, you know, I think code enforcement, that's what he need to do, code enforcement, you know? 'Cause we got a lot to do for code enforcement, to keep them busy. Just grass lawn is enough to keep them busy. Now, counting the other stuff, when we do get up on the
John
lawsuit,
Paul,
I
the
guess.
life property, code enforcement, gonna need to be full-time, every day, all day.
I don't know about animal control, that's up to you all.
Part-time,
Say part-time, animal control,
part-time.
that code enforcement officer need to be Monday through Friday.
He or she got a lot of work, I mean, there's plenty of stuff for the code enforcement person to do. And get them properly trained, and they know the, codes and stuff, and get out there and get at it. Man, it's,
And I will add that the code enforcement is it was, included in the chief's budget.
Right.
Whatever you wanna call it, but the animal control, although I guess it's under chief's supervision, if you go to, I can't remember what page it is, but the animal control actually has to have a separate budget. But if you look on this summary sheet, the very first page, I just put 0, because I just didn't have a clue of what we were doing with the animal control as far as forward.
I guess that's what threw me off, I saw 0 there, so.
Yeah, well, I just, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a discussion with anyone about what the specific pay is for an animal control officer. I haven't had any, clarification on if the animal control is full-time or part-time. So if I would put something in there, I just been making a number up.
Yeah.
So that's kinda why I left it blank, to kinda alert y'all,
right, need to act
some
on it. We just talked
decisions
about
that
that.
got to be made. I mean, I don't think,
Part-time.
chief, do you have
Well, I
an
agree,
idea?
part-time,
No.
animal control, full-time.
Yeah, animal control, I think we can get away with part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
But see, animal control is one of those things that happens, you know? You get a
All day,
dog-
any day.
You get a dog out there that's threatening people,
I agree.
you need the animal control officer now.
Or-
Not when he comes
Well,
back
too,
on
I mean,
duty
it's just a
tomorrow.
point where if it happened, and the animal control person is gone, and you got got police officers here all day,
Yeah.
24 hours. Officers need to,
Yep.
they can learn, I
They
mean,
have to take care of some of it.
take care of some of them dogs too.
Yep.
Or somewhere, that, you know.
Yep.
'Cause if it's gonna be a part-time position, you know.
I just feel like animal control needs to be part-time.
Yeah, yeah.
But code enforcement, that needs to be full-time.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yep.
Well, speaking of code enforcement, hold on one second, where we at with the dilapidated houses? I mean, where we at with that? I know we was supposed to be making some more policies as far as concerned with what all we had going on.
Yeah, well, we, I guess we're going back to the old policy, and actually, I think that's on me, because I gotta contact the, board members for the Municipal Housing Code Abatement Board, because that's where it
So, yeah,
starts.
we gotta get all that in line before we put that person out there to
So
do
we
the job.
did, name those board members, I need to contact them, and they need to have a meeting and then move forward, because that's the way the ordinance reads, everything really comes from
That board.
the Housing Code Abatement Board.
And there was some things we're gonna do to try to speed the process up as well, right?
Well, no, see, but that was gonna be down the line as far as changing the ordinance.
Right.
If we keep the same ordinance, then that's why we kinda
Gotta go back to-
appointed the Municipal Housing Code Abatement Board, because we wouldn't have holding to where, can't remember, the attorney was like, well, we don't wanna change it, and then make it look like.
Gotcha, I got you. Say no more.
So we need to resolve that, in order to get that in line, so when this person comes on board, they can go,
Yeah, you can go to work.
work away.
So, we in agreement with part-time animal control, full-time code enforcement?
Alright,
Now, with the part-time, be doing the part-time hours, it would be all day, maybe all day Monday, all Tuesday, all day Thursday, all Friday, something like that? Or would it be 4 hours Monday, 4 hours Tuesday? What did we
say
say
anything
part-time?
in the ad about whether it was full-time or
No,
part-time?
we didn't.
It's not in the ad.
Is it under 32 hours?
But I left that out the ad because I didn't have an answer to it. I mean,
So what is part-time hours?
Yeah, but it's part-time.
Is it under 32?
It could be anything,
Yeah,
it could be 20 to 32 or something like
very,
that.
Yeah.
very.
I mean, it would be
Because
good.
you have different things in play, like if you talking about RSA, part-time is anything over 19 hours for the retirement system. You know, so you work 20 hours, technically you're no longer part-time. I said that wrong first. Anything over 19 is not part-time. So RSA, if you work 20 hours, and technically you're supposed to take retirement out. But you're still not a full-time employee by, say, hour standards, you're still part-time. But, I mean, I think the last time we had part-time,
He was doing maybe 4 or 5 hours a day.
yeah.
Is the shelter, is the place open every day?
It's
for the
not.
week?
It's
So
not.
what are the hours for the animal shelter?
It's open, it's closed on Tuesdays. It's closed on Tuesdays
Coincide with,
with their schedule.
Yeah, look at that schedule. No, he won't be working, he or she won't be working on Tuesdays.
All right, so, go ahead.
So how are we gonna, so y'all are saying if it's a day the person's not working, then the call
Who's
is.
gonna answer the call?
The police department, what happened? If
it's
the
a
animal
vicious
control-
dog, they
if
need to
it's a
respond
vicious-
anyway.
That's what the ordinance says.
That's what the ordinance said, right?
That's one clarification.
Yeah, that's what the ordinance said.
So after hours, police, or you call them in?
So what, I'm trying to hear you.
After hours, after you get off from work, as far as, you know, I know we said police, but is it always gonna be, he works 5 hours, 6 hours a day, and everything else the rest of the day, police department gonna cover 7 days a week? In that manner?
I think it's worded in the ordinance, if it's a vicious animal threatening lives or something like that,
They
then
also have to
police
take, they got a duty
do
to
that,
take,
do that then.
take care of it.
But anything other than that, I don't.
Dog,
One of the things if we're gonna do this, one of the things we're gonna have to do is make a facility where he can hold dogs for more than 2 or 3 hours, so we gotta get them away from there because of the heat and, you know, so we can do that.
And two, get that person, make sure they're trained on all the city ordinances and other cities, like these property owners, I mean, these animal owners, they got these dogs, and they need to make sure they got shots, they got the collars, I mean, they're secured and all that too, and we need to look at the orders on that too. You know, they wanna,
And a lot of times we have calls, and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, dogs not necessarily vicious.
Right.
just
They're
dog
not-
They're just saying, you know, they'll
Yeah.
call and say, hey, I got a dog running around over here, you know, and,
no collar, no ID.
And not even that, a lot of times you have them where the dogs are not being taken care of.
You can cite 'em on that.
We actually picked up 2 dogs about 2 weeks ago, and we actually, filed charges, on the homeowner. So he's been arrested, and we picked the dogs up, and they're being held now, because of the condition that the dogs were in. So we went out and we removed the dogs from the property, and also we signed warrants on the owner of the dogs.
Okay.
So that person has been arrested also.
I might comment too, that a few years ago, there was a dog loose in our neighborhood, and he wasn't vicious, he was playful, but he did knock somebody down that was walking along the sidewalk. So it doesn't have to be a vicious dog to be
Right.
dangerous.
It's that one older person or something.
Exactly.
All right, so where we are, we own the money amount for vendor repair and city motor vehicle repair. So I propose, I say at 10, and it was mentioned to move 5,000 down to city repair. So how do we wanna handle this? And basically, Chief, the only thing we'll be doing is actually cutting you $5,000. If we go that route. $2,000 on city repair and, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Make it 5,000 on city repair.
Make it what?
It's 1,500 now.
I'm talking, make it 2,000 on city repair, right?
When I see some of that vendor, a lot of stuff, the city mechanic be doing,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that they were taking to.
Yeah.
Right.
2,000.
And that's the reason I proposed 20, because I didn't know how long we was gonna be without a mechanic here.
10 for the vendor and 5 for the city,
Yeah.
or 10 and 10.
Well, it should be cheaper for the city to do it.
10 and 5.
Otherwise,
10 for the vendor and 5 for the city. That saves us $5,000.
Okay, all right.
my question is, who all knows the mechanic?
I ain't even seen him yet.
I mean,
I think I seen him, but I ain't for sure.
I know of it.
do we know what all he's capable of, I guess?
All I know, he worked at American Lube, that's why I take my vehicle, and he always will change it, so.
Oil change.
I ain't,
The oil change.
So you know I'm telling all
I know he can change oil, so I don't know about all of that. He knew
As
how,
long as he puts the drain plug back in, that's it.
yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, one of the problems we've had with the previous mechanics is that a lot of their work is guesswork. And sometimes you spend a lot of money carrying it out there, and then they actually say this is what it is, and then once they think it's fixed, then you know, that's not the problem. And they don't have a way of diagnosing the stuff.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
What about
Do
an
they have
ASC
diagnostic
certified
reading?
mechanic? I mean, we need to get us a certified,
Well, and the equipment,
yeah.
don't just do it by reading the book anymore.
Well, not this day and time. This day and time, it's different from Shakespeare, man.
When you plug it in and.
Now, you can get the reader.
Certified mechanic. We
You gotta pay for it, man.
Yeah.
Well, we can find them, that's why we.
Well, see, here's the thing, it'd be great to have a certified mechanic. Certified mechanic not come and consider vet work for $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
So then when you start saying, okay, we're gonna pay them for what certified mechanic can go make somewhere else, then what's gonna happen is, and it's happening in other departments, they start comparing that pay to everybody else's pay. Let's just, for example, let's say the electrical department.
Yeah.
You can hire an electrical engineer to run the department, But then when you gotta pay electrical engineer price, well, no, that person shouldn't make more than everybody in the city. Well, he's electrical engineer. You know, so then so then it always gets compared to the entire city, and then we say we gotta pay, but then when it's time to pay, it's a little different. You know, I mean, and I'm just being honest. You know, I mean, Chief, I don't know if you agree or not, but you know, we can say we're gonna pay, but everybody gotta agree to it, not just, no offense, like one person, one council member, because that's when salaries start getting out of whack. And I know since I've been here, anytime we have a salary discussion, it always trends to across the board.
Yep.
Well, why are we paying this person or this group more than that group? It shouldn't be like that. And we kind of ignore the fact, well, different skill sets kind of require different things, and it's gonna cost more. I just know I got a couple friends. I know they're certified. They wouldn't come here for $40,000. I know they wouldn't.
Yeah.
$40,000, $20 an hour. I know they're seeing $40,000 an hour.
All right, move on to something else.
All right. Dues, 3,000. I don't know as far as whatever you got to do, whatever your dues is, whatever y'all doing in dues. Guess that should be fine. Clothing, $9,000.
And that would be based on the number of officers that we got. You know, if it's a decrease in officers, that's less clothing, that we gonna do. What we basically now, when we outfit officers now, we basically use what we got. If we got uniforms been turned in, then we issue them out according to sizes. And that way we try to save instead of just every officer trying to go and outfit them with something new, and then we spend money and then they don't stay. So basically we'll just try to use what we got up there, but it'll depend on the number of officers.
Yeah, but do the investigators still get the $800 the uniform allowance?
They do.
And do they, so if they get that for being an investigator, I used to get it when I worked here too, but do they still order uniform that comes out of your budget too? I mean, if they need other uniform items or whatever, you know?
No, the
They find it out of $800 or
they basically get their clothing out of that.
everything that they need out of $800?
I mean, we don't, now they do have some Class A's, uniform that's, for details and stuff like that. But other than that, in other clothing, it basically, they get their own clothing. Now, when they were going with, I'm gonna be honest with you, when they were doing the BDUs, they were getting them out of the department, budget.
Normally $800, I mean, that's for suits or just
Right.
$800, I mean, you can look at that. I mean, if you're paying them $800 for uniform, for clothing allowance, I think that should cover any type of official duty clothing, whether it's BDU, suits, or whatever they need. I mean, and I'm sure some guy probably ain't gonna spend $800.
No.
Well, I don't know. I shop at thrift stores, but. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna pay them $800 on top of it, and
Yeah.
they can.
Then they would be getting more than the other guys automatically.
Yeah, and then the BDUs, they wasn't, we went away from them. So we doing Class A's.
Keep the uniforms, I said, keep the uniforms like you got. I think that's.
See, how many Class A do each officer get?
Look at cutting that,
Probably.
what they getting, $800 to 5.
Are they using that 800 or?
I think so, cause they use them for like, when they go to court and stuff like that, and they, back before we started using uniforms every day, the investigators were coming in their regular clothes. But the only reason they're coming in uniforms now is because of the fact we're actually using them to help cover patrol. So, while they're doing patrol, they're in uniforms. But when they go to court and stuff, that's when they come in their, other clothes.
What about having them to submit, I know with us, you know, we get a clothing allowance for clothing, whatever, but we have to submit our receipt
Okay.
to the office first. We don't just get the check and go do what you want to do with you. You know, if I go spend $200 on clothes, I gotta turn in a receipt $200, and they're gonna cut me a check to reimburse me my $200 that I spent. So that's accountability. If we're gonna hold, I mean, that's, we're looking at trying to, numbers,
Yeah.
man, you know, everything, you know.
My question was, Chief, how many uniforms do you issue per officer?
Per officer, we'll get, we'll start them off with 2 pair of pants, 2 short sleeves, and 2 long sleeves, and then we'll also get them a jacket that they have. The vest, we got plenty of vests because they, you know, we got some through the grant year before last. We got the grant, so we have plenty of vests. I think we got about 10 vests last time. But then the thing about it, with the vests, you know, that run according to size, so they have to be sized, and that somebody might be coming in there, you know, that we don't have one for them that they can wear. So that will, yeah.
So, as overall, can that 9,000 be cut?
How much are you talking about cutting it?
You tell me, because I mean, you're more familiar with what has to be spent out there. I mean, because I have no idea.
Well, it looks like it's been running about 8,500 on average, and prices are going up these days.
But you gotta get their uniforms every year.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They wear out, though.
Yeah, and then you're looking including boots and stuff like that too, so that, yeah.
I think we need to
You
leave
tell
that.
me, I mean, I'm
I
asking.
think we need to leave that one.
That's fine.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
All right. Can you talk to Sid and get him to come in and check on that prisoner bill? Well, we.
Now, last year, it was really,
Don't worry. He said, don't arrest anybody.
well, last year, you know, with all the arrests that we had, that, you know, they were doing OR bonds because of the pandemic, and
We're still doing that right now.
they are, and plus they're limiting, you know, still, so
Yeah.
so that will probably on its own take care of itself, but some people we do still have to arrest, and you know, depending on the crime, and we have to take them down. So I would hate to, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I almost wonder if, and I need to look back further, I should have closed my laptop down. You know, they went up on us.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing, when they go up, we have no control over that.
I almost wonder if that number is inflated because when they first went up, we bumped it up, thinking it was gonna be higher than what it was.
I think it was.
You only spent 2
Yeah.
in 10 months, so,
Because
take it
they
down to
went-
15,000.
15,000?
What do y'all think? I mean,
I think we can work. Okay. All right,
How much?
15. Okay, we're down to vehicles, 3 Explorers.
Yes, and that's guesstimated at 42,000, to 3 Explorers.
What is the situation with the vehicles we have right now?
As far as the one that we got, as far as the Explorers, the new vehicle, the Explorers, the 2019s are in good shape. The Impalas rather, they're basically getting to the point that they're wearing out. I wish we never would've went with the Impalas because we had trouble with them from the get-go. We went up North Alabama, we got them, brought them back, and then that Monday morning, we had to jump them off. And I wish the chief would've back then would've, you know, took them back. But, you know, we kept them and we keep having the, you know, different issues with them and stuff. the cooling, stuff like that, that we have to try to keep getting them fixed and, stuff like that. The only one that's really giving us the good service is the one that we had in investigations. We getting good service out of that one. But as far as the other two, it's just like, it's just always something. Well,
Let me ask you, you know, with the amount of employees we have, and I know we use these vehicles on, you know, every day, could we get away with 1 to 2, or even another year with nothing?
That one we just bought the other vehicle last year,
2019,
like 2 years ago.
yes.
See,
That 126 for 3.
Yes. But we know that we'll apply for a grant,
That's what I want.
you know.
hold off, let's see.
Okay, let me ask this then, okay, by saying we would apply for a grant, if we just took that out and applied for a grant, and went that route, without this being in our budget, how, I mean,
But
Yeah, we're looking at cutting, we're trying to, if they got enough, I think, you know, if you're good with what you got right now, I mean, we just got 3 new ones 2 years, not even 2 years ago. And the other one, like I say, I feel that we can at least wait another year and.
that's what I'm saying, can we, you know,
we
really
don't have the
afford
money.
to wait another
Look at
year?
I mean, if you all said we can't, we need to wait, we'll have to wait.
Let me say this about that 126,000 is as far as us being where we are today, and us trying to pass a 1 cent sales tax, along with even, you know, going further than that as far as looking at revenue, increases on some things. Can we just hold off on them for right now, and then let's get some better income? Even if we have to entertain, I would say, I mean, if we get the money rolling in, you know, and then we decide to come back in 6 months or 8 months and start talking about it then.
And probably excuse me, but not to mention 1 cent sales tax, but if we just worry about the general fund right now, probably 1 cent sales tax won't have anything to do with the general fund, county budget.
So, I mean, that's what I'm asking, is, you know, can we,
I don't think we can, I'll say, hold off on vehicle, I mean, I'm,
And we are gonna apply for a grant.
right,
So
let's wait to see if we get the grant.
it's kind of a dice roll, but it's not like we're gonna ignore the problem.
Or you can look at getting some used vehicle through, state surplus or something,
And I will add
Don't
too,
3 brand new vehicles.
Chief is the first department head that y'all are meeting with.
right,
You actually gonna have another
Vehicle
department
and
head,
everybody.
you know,
Yeah, another
for a
department
fact
needs
yeah,
vehicles.
that's gonna ask about the
Vehicle.
grant, because
Can we
the
look
grant
at-
is not a police grant,
Right.
it's a vehicle grant.
okay.
So I do know, just being transparent with everyone, you're gonna have one department head who's pretty much gonna think, hey, this grant has been used for the police department twice now.
Yeah.
Why can't we
Spread it around.
and say our
Right.
And
department?
get, look at some of the vehicles we got rolling around, it's an embarrassment that we still got a lot of those vehicles on the road in other departments, so we need to.
Well, let me say this about what you just said, and don't get me wrong, my mind have been set at one point on vehicles for, you know, other departments.
Mhm.
I want you to just take a look and see if they're being taken care of. That's my problem I have right now. You know, and we'll deal with that when we come to it, as far as other departments.
Right.
You know, the point of just taking care of what you already got, they ain't doing it. Yeah.
We'll just hold on.
So,
hold off
Chief,
on all vehicles.
we're gonna hold off on the vehicle,
That's right.
okay? And we'll go further. 911 dispatch, that's a set thing.
Well, that's something that I was gonna ask about too. I know it's been down through the years that we've actually took that, in our budget, and it's been part of the police budget for years. But, we also share it with the fire department. And I was just wondering, you know, does all that have to really come out of my budget?
Well, I don't see why it should.
When
If-
we-
Split
You know,
it.
Split it.
Yeah,
It's
they're
been split.
using, they're using, you know, the
Yes.
911 center, that's the same.
Yeah, so whatever they cost, split it between the two.
Split between the two.
Yeah.
Well, you got three, fire, EMS.
And y'all split it. I agree with that, because I had,
So that's something to look at.
Well, you never did ask, this chief asked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, that's two, that's different, the purpose of us having these meetings, is
That's
get
right.
final.
That's right.
I agree.
So do we look at splitting it three ways?
Yeah, fire, EMS,
Even before the pandemic.
fire, EMS, and police department.
so that'll say,
Three divided by, what, 64,925, come on, Councilman Honey, you already had that ready.
Oh, what, 66,000 divided by three?
Three.
How about 22,000?
Sound a whole lot better, don't it, Chief?
It does, it's a lot better.
Well, it doesn't.
That changed the overall number.
Right.
Yeah, it's just out of my department.
Right, it just takes it away from
Right.
chief, yeah.
We just,
Okay, we said 23.
well, it's 2273 and 12 cents.
Is that the new?
And the reason,
updated
that's what I was
number?
just finna say, that was based on the increase.
This is the increase?
That was the increase that we just, got from the 911 center, so,
23,
yeah.
say 23,000 on each of them, all three of them.
Yeah. So, city clerk, in order to be able to do this, with this take something from ordinance, could we just move that around, or is it something we could do?
Yeah, that is something I could do on the accounting side. Like, because basically when I pay them right now, it's just coded under one account number. So when I pay them going forward, I have to make an account number for EMS and for fire to, make it show up on our budget side. But I mean, it's not a big.
Is that something that the mayor and council entirely need to vote on, or?
So you wanna give Chief Duty the bad news, that he just got increased?
Everyone is.
Okay, so let's go to radios.
That's just some of the radios that, trying to replace, and we have some old radios that, that we're just trying to replace, and, cause we keep having issues, some with batteries and stuff like that, so we just wanted to
These handheld radios or car radios or what?
handheld.
Yeah, they get a lot of wear and tear. And we do want the police to be able to respond.
Okay, everybody good on the radios and hear the chief's explanation there? Crime Stoppers, we've already dealt, we know about that, I think everybody is aware of what the Crime Stoppers is. Let's go to speed signs.
And basically, that's just for two of them. That if we can just deal with one for right now, we'll use one. It's mobile, we can put it in different areas and just, I think I've already
You've
mentioned.
given me some information here, and I got a 6,000 and I've got a 9,000.
Yes, now the 9,000 is the one that,
With the camera.
right, with the camera, and do a lot of other stuff that,
Let's get the fourth one.
Well, and if we do municipal court, those tickets will count.
But then a lot of people start challenging those.
Those signs, that's what they
Those
calibrate.
cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
well, basically what we was gonna use it for, just to start identifying, vehicles. Coming in the area once, cause if we have it in certain areas, we could take a picture of a vehicle. Just say like if you're sitting in there and an incident happened, like where we on Second Avenue Southwest, one coming in speeding, and then all of a sudden it runs into, like it did, the city sign, and, have a wreck, and then they try to leave the scene or something like that. I mean, it wouldn't be anything that we would try to go into court with, because like you said, they are challenging and stuff. I think the city of Opelika had a lot of kickback with those cameras that they had when they had them up, and they was taking pictures of people's cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have intersections.
Right.
So you're saying that 15,000 for two,
Yes.
so this ain't gonna be the same?
Well, actually, it was gonna be based on that, cause I think the last time we talked, it was saying about the 9,000. I think that came up one time before about the cameras and stuff like that, and I was just saying if we did two, but we can do one. We can do one at
At approximately what price?
the 6,000 and something that we did. If y'all don't, if we just don't wanna do the camera, we can just go with the lowest one.
Okay.
And this is a good detour too, I mean, because.
One around 6,200.
Yes.
Person see that sign, no flashing light, they're gonna automatically slow down.
And two, you might want to check too, Chief, check with DOT, because I know especially with 431, with 431 coming through here in 50, I've seen in some cities and towns and stuff, they are putting those cameras up, even go through Casita now, they got those signs, but the county commission got those up.
Okay.
The camera on the sign.
On the
and all that.
sign, and they
I
have the
think got a
speed,
grant. Yeah, they
the
got,
speed
you
limit.
can do your speed and all that too.
Right.
So and that's the thing too, guys, we need to look at, let's start demanding more from our county commission. I mean, we've been over back, we got our ambulance running all over Chambers County. And, they can help out on some of this stuff, especially you got coming in on Nightmare Road, coming off that county road to the city, maybe they could help.
There is a local road safety
Yeah,
initiative grant.
like I say, we can get with DOT and see if they can help us.
I tried to
But
get
with DOT, they gonna wanna see numbers, they gonna wanna
Right.
see, you guys,
Yeah.
you come, all this traffic coming through here,
Production,
speeding
yeah.
on 431 and
Yeah.
whatever. They gonna give it to you because, the guys writing a lot of tickets.
Right.
That's what they wanna see.
Just say go right.
If you writing a lot of tickets, we can start complaining to DOT to help us, they might
Right.
put a couple of cameras on both ends of 431 coming into the city
Okay.
to help us with that, cause they got money. I'm on the, public safety, committee with League of Municipalities, with the Alabama League. And that's one of the things, that annual meeting we have every year, the head of DOT comes and talks. There's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of resources, man, and they tell us, like the time we got 431 paved, complain, hey, man, you come through the, we got these cracks, and then eventually they, not saying that because I talked to them, but we start talking to these people, reach out to them, man, build these, networks and put a face with, we start calling our legislators too, they have discretion, they have funds and stuff, we the county seat, we need to start asking these people to start helping us do some of this stuff, we've taken a lot of this stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
But, your state senator, your US senator, your representative, they wanna go to, they represent all of us too, and we the county seat, let's start reaching out to these people and demand more from them, man, we start talking to them and see what we can get, that might lighten some of this, what we looking at, all this money we spend in our budget.
Right.
We need some help, and I think we can probably get it. And then you got midterm election stuff coming up next year, they wanna be down here with the ballot time, whoever taking a picture, presenting these checks. Let's start reaching out to them, and I think we can, like I say, you ask not, you get not.